Hey guys, welcome to another YouTube video. This is what you call, I don't know, part two of this, where I already did the MotoGP 2024 season preview. Now it's time to preview both the Moto2 and the Moto3 World Championships. So yeah, and it's pretty much open really for both championships really. And it's also a lot of Aussies for my fellow Aussie MotoGP fans. There are a lot of Aussies to support also in both Moto2 and in Moto3 as well. So I'll get those I'll get those pretty soon. So yeah, so let's get straight into it real quick. So let's get in. So straight off with, and also one last thing, I'm also going to do my predictions, but with all three classes with MotoGP, Moto2, and Moto3 as well. So yeah, and also a new one at the very end, which a new prediction at the end, which I'll wait for you guys to see. So so let's get into the Moto2 one. So obviously with Pedro Acosta obviously moving out of the class and going up to MotoGP, who is of course the reigning defending undisputed Moto2 world champion, it's pretty much open now because pretty much most of the riders that finished inside the top 10 are basically staying in the class this year. So the main one obviously was Moto2 runner-up. It was runner-up in the championship to Acosta, and that is Mercedes rider Tony Arbolino. So he had. So the first half of the season, he really was the main rival to Acosta for the championship. He sort of teetered away in the mid part of the season as Acosta, ran away with the championship. But he's definitely gonna be the favorite, obviously, because if he pulls them together, then so if it pulls on together, then it pulls it together for the entire season, then I presume he will win. I presume that he will win most races and probably maybe get the Moto2 championship. And he did say, and I think he was quoted in saying, I think there was like, it was even like last year there was like offers from MotoGP teams for this year, but he turned them all down because he said he wasn't ready for it, which is brave of him to say that he wasn't ready for MotoGP. But I think maybe after this year, maybe he might be ready for it for MotoGP this year, to be honest. But I think his main rival for this year will definitely be speed up rider Thurman Olga. I think that's how you say it. I think that's how you pronounce it. I think that's how you pronounce it. Which he's had a pretty big couple of weeks, because if you guys had lived under a rock these last couple of weeks, it was announced for him that it was announced that he would be a Pramac Ducati rider in 2025. I read that somewhere, but what I haven't read is who he's replacing. We don't know. We don't know who he's replacing. Is it going to be Martin? Is it going to be Morbidelli? We don't know really, but he really ended the season last year, really like I think he ended the season with 4 straight wins. If I see here, he ended the season with 4 straight wins to his credit: Thailand, Malaysia, Qatar, and at the season finale in Valencia. So he's entering this season in blistering form. and blistering form, and I won't be surprised if he starts the season like this too. And then basically Arbolino basically goes all the way through and that. So yeah, and there's going to be other contenders as well, like Jake Dixon. Jake Dixon with the Aspar team that's now under CF Moto instead of Gas. Could he go to the next level and challenge Moto and finally have a Brit be successful in motorcycle racing? We haven't had that in ages. Aaron Canet, also for Fennec Racing. Obviously, if you guys don't know, obviously the Pons Racing got shut down at the end of closed its doors at the end of 2023, so that's why he was out of a ride. But Fennec Racing picked him up, and yeah. And then also some Kit Chantra, obviously, he's really come from the clouds, really, and possibly maybe has overtaken Ayagura to equal to Ayagura to be a replacement for Taka Nakagami if things don't work out for Taka and LCR Honda in MotoGP this year. So yeah. And the speed up team is probably the one to look out for in Moto2, because with also with Alonso Lopez also in there as well. I mean, I think they're in for a big year over at Speed Up for those two. Definitely. For their two riders, I think that both of them are capable of winning races. I think probably the only lineup that could probably win races. I mean, I know you got Arbolino in there. Jake Dixon, he can win races, but can his teammate Ivan Guevara win a race? I don't know really about that. Look at the lineups here. Can Philip Salak win races with Mark VDS? We don't know. Can Mario Agi win a race with the Honda team aged guys? We don't know. Probably not. So that's pretty much a concern. So as I said, I think the speed up team are the only ones I think that has both riders capable of winning races, and that's that. Ayagura, came from, of course, challenging very heavily with Augusto Fernandez for the 2022 World Championship, and then dropped back to ninth in the championship. It wasn't helped by the fact he missed the first 3 races with an injury pre-season. Or it wasn't helped by that, and he never really sort of got into the championship really. But now with a full pre-season under his belt without any injury free, hopefully he gets back into title contention. And then an outsider is Celestino Vietti. Obviously moving over to the powerhouse Moto2 team of the last 3 years in Red Bull KTM IO, that could be a good thing for him in terms of being a regular runner at the front of a Moto2 field and maybe winning a couple of races as well. But I think for me, that is really a big move for him in terms of for his career, going to Red Bull KTM and hopefully get some results out of that team. Then now we move to Aussie Watch. This is the only Aussie in the Moto2 field, and it is Senna August, who Obviously, this is his first full season in the Moto2 World Championship, but he has competed with these bikes before. He has been the last couple of years with in the European Championship. I mean, he was runner-up in 2022. Runner-up in 2022. With only 2 wins and 6 podiums to his name in 2022, and then he dominated last year's European Moto2 Championship with 8 wins. Yeah, 8 wins out of the 11 races. So, and also with the exact same team that he's riding for right now, in with Liquid Moly in GP team. He's been riding for that. He rode for that team last year, and in the European Championship, and he dominated it. So I think he can surprise a lot of people as the season goes on. Surprise everybody. I mean, he's had to work his opportunity to get an opportunity to drive and to ride in the World Championship full time. Now he's got it, and hopefully that experience running the European Championship can do him good. And I'm serious to all my fellow Aussies. I would recommend you watching him when you get the opportunity of watching him, because I think I've got very high hopes on this guy. He, of course, obviously proved it in the European Championship. No doubt he's going to prove it again over time when he gets used to all the World Championship tracks. So, of course, European, I think Europe he'll cover down pat. The flyway tracks, like in Asia and in America, probably that's a bit too far, because obviously he hasn't raced those tracks before. But in most tracks in Europe, like ones he's competing in the European Championship around, I think he'll definitely he'll no doubt be strong around those tracks, because he knows the bikes obviously being in the European Championship, but also around the tracks as well. So I think for us Aussies, I think he'll be the one to watch from that. Now, moving on to Moto3, if you thought Moto2 was wide open, Moto3 is even more wide open, because there's, out of the top 10 in the championship from last year, there is only 6 riders. So four riders have graduated from Moto3 to Moto2, including world champion Shalma Masia, and Ayumi Sasaki as well, who were the top 2 in the championship last year. They've all moved on to Moto2, so it's pretty much even now in terms, and you never know who's going to win a Moto3 World Championship, and we don't know who would win a Moto3 race, because every time we leave every race and go to another race, the script just gets ripped up. Pretty much, that's the norm in Moto3 racing. So of course, starting off with the guy that finished third in the championship, David Alonso. Of course, won 4 races last year. Was a regular on the podium. No doubt about it. He could be on those stats could be the title favourite going into this season. But I believe that this next guy would heavily be on his tail the whole way through, and that's Danny Helgado, who is going to be who's still racing for Tech 3, but now they're under the Red Bull Gas banner for this year instead of Red Bull KTM Tech 3. So yeah, and I think he led like most of the championship, like the first half of the season, and then he just teed it off at the back half of the year, lost the championship lead, and just crashed down ever since. I mean, 3 wins last year, got a pole position, of course, at the penultimate round at Qatar. 7 podiums, like David Alonso, a regular on the podium. A couple of fastest laps to throw in there as well. if he sorts out his form in the back half of the season and keep his form from the first half of the year from 2023, where he led the championship pretty much most of the first half of the year, then he could be the one that basically wins the Moto3 World Championship this year. Who knows about that? Other riders, of course, you got Ivan Ortola, who's a part of the MT Helmets MSI team. Another one who grabbed a couple of wins last year, grabbed 3 podiums and 3 fastest laps. So he was sort of a regular on the podium, sort of, but I think for him, you know, to go to another level, I think another level will probably be top 5 in the championship. And I think he's capable of doing that now that with the likes of Masia and Sasaki and all that moving up to Moto2, there is a chance for that to happen. But you never know, there probably might not be a chance to happen. You never know with that. You never know, there might not be a chance for that to happen, but you never know. You never know with that. Maybe there is a possibility that maybe he could. I think for me, like all these 6 names I mentioned, that they can have a possibility of having multiple wins this season, as well. So yeah. Next rider is a part of the Intact GP team, in Colin Viger, the Dutch rider. Obviously grabbed his maiden win at Sepang, grabbed a couple of poles, grabbed a couple of podiums as well last year. Even set the fastest lap of the race at the British Grand Prix at Silverstone. So he showed signs that he can be a regular front runner, and I think that he can have the potential to become a regular front runner in the Moto3, but you just never know in Moto3. So yeah. The one for me to look out for, to be honest, is this next rider, Jose Antonio Ruda, the Spanish rider who who is, I think, in his second season riding for the Red Bull KTM IO team. So if I can, I think he's Spanish. Yeah. So the Spanish rider. I think for me, like he's shown glimpses. I mean, he had the podium at Catalunya, when he finished in third. Had the benefit from Ivan Ortola. I think I remember watching that race at Catalunya. I think he ended up making contact, or someone else, I believe, made contact with Ivan Ortola. I think it was Munoz, I think. We'll speak about him in a sec. That crashed out in the last corner, and that made him, slip by for third. Shown signs last year, or showed glimpses last year. I think the next level is to show the MotoGP fraternity what he can do, and I think he can do that in 2024. And maybe grab several more podiums, maybe grab a win or two. So yeah, that's what I think. That is what his expectations would be. The same would be for David Munoz. Of course, grabbed the pole position at Assen, grabbed a couple of podiums as well. Finished just inside the top 10 in the championship. As I said with Jose Antonio Ruda, he no doubt his expectation will probably be grab several more podiums, be a regular front runner, grab a couple at every Moto3 race, grab a win or two. So yeah, those will probably be his expectations probably for the Moto3 season for him. So yeah. On to the Aussie watch. There's actually 2 Aussies in Moto3 this year. Of course, returning for a third full season in Moto3, sorry, is Joel Kelso, who's coming off of obviously his maiden Moto3 podium, how ironically at his home here at Phillip Island, at his home event. So it's just to add to a long list of Australian riders who've grabbed the podium in all classes at Phillip Island. I wonder if now that his teammates with David Munoz, who's also, I wonder if both of them maybe have the drive to perhaps maybe try and basically be regular front runners. Like I don't see I maybe see Kelso maybe if a crazy race happens, maybe he wins a race, and grab at least a couple more podiums. But I don't see him be a regular front runner, like be top 5, top 6 every single Moto3 race. I don't see it, to be honest. But at least, make some improvements really, and see if you can get closer to possibly maybe get maybe close to the top 10 in the standings by the end of the year. So that's probably my thoughts on Joel Kelso. And obviously he's joined by a second Aussie. That is Jacob Rulestone, who is graduating from the Red Bull MotoGP Rookies Cup, and is going to be racing alongside Danny Holgado at Red Bull Gas Tech 3. To be honest, I didn't know much about him, and I went on his just today as I'm recording this, I went on his website and look at his career to see what he's done, and he's done pretty much a hell of a lot. I mean, he's a 3-time dirt track champion, beaten the Oceania Junior Cup, won a couple of races there. Then he went to the Inamitsu Asia Talent Cup, grabbed several top 10 finishes there in 2020 with the Leopard team. Let me just grab this across here. Had a couple of top 10 finishes there. Then raced for the Leopard Junior team again in 2021. Got a couple of podiums. Got a couple of podiums there. Then he moved to the Aspar Gas Junior team in 2022, I would guess. In the Moto3 Junior World Championship, and got a couple of podiums there. This is when he started out in the Red Bull Rookies. Got his first career podium in Jerez in that year in 2022, and I'm trying to remember what format it would have been a second race, I believe. So rode the podium there. Then in 2023, he made in 2023 got his first front row start in Red Bull Rookies. Got a couple of podiums. Got a podium in Red Bull Rookies, and then again in the Moto3 Junior World Championship, and now obviously he stepped up to the Tech 3 team for the Moto3 World Championship full time this year, which is going to be a very good stead. And it's even got a quote here. This is a quote here from Jacob himself saying he said, "I'm really excited to be joining Red Bull KTM Tech 3. They are a very experienced and professional team that have brought through many great riders. Stepping up from the Red Bull MotoGP Rookies Cup and FIM Junior GP won't be easy but with the team, the people around me, as well as my own determination, I believe we can have a decent rookie season. Thanks to Hervé, which is Hervé Poncharal, KTM and Red Bull for this amazing opportunity. So that was his quote. That was his quote on his own website. So not much really expectations really to go with Jacob. I mean, haven't seen him much. He's been pretty much been successful in everything that he's touched on his way up to this stage. So yeah, I mean, and he's been successful pretty much in grabbing podiums. As I said earlier, when he was young, really young, he was a 3-time dirt track champion here in Australia. So he's clearly comes from a dirt track background. So it's a pretty much. My expectations, I think, are really low for him in terms of his rookie season. I think it's just for him just to get through, learn all the tracks on the calendar and see how he goes. I'm not really expecting him to set the world on fire and basically just grab several top 10 finishes or get a couple of podiums or a win. I'm not expecting that. Maybe just a bit of a learning season for him, and then basically just go onwards and upwards from there in future years. So yeah, and plus also a good team with Tech 3, of course. Hervé Poncharal would steer him in the right direction, and of course learning off a teammate Danny Delgado, who was a title contender in 2023. That is a very good rider, a very good fellow young rider to learn from, and will definitely help him in basically learning very quickly these Moto3 bikes. So that's a very good thing for him, and I think Jacob's in good hands at Tech 3. Let's just put it that way. So finally onto the season predictions. So I'm going to be doing my predictions for, of course, who will win the championship in Moto3. For MotoGP, all three championships all three championships, riders, teams, and constructors. What's my biggest surprise, and what will be my biggest surprise and the biggest disappointment to come out of all three classes? And plus, also one thing to go for is add a new one called mind blowing prediction. Which is, I could say bold, but I've gone for that one. It's mind blowing, what it was going to blow up everyone's mind in 2024 this year. So let's start off with MotoGP. I just gotta say it all once: riders, Bagnaia, teams, Lenovo, Ducati team, and Constructors Ducati. Let's move on. The biggest surprise, I think Pedro Acosta. I think Pedro Acosta will. Some of them might say it's not surprising, but I think he'll shock people, and I won't be surprised if he wins multiple races. He's that good, and he's gotten used to the MotoGP bikes that quickly. I won't be surprised if he. I think I can remember. If he does win a race, does that mean that I think he becomes the youngest MotoGP winner? Because I think Marquez still holds that record. I don't know if someone else. I can remember. I think Marquez, I believe, still holds the record for being the youngest MotoGP winner. Maybe Pedro Acosta overtakes that if he does win a race this year, which I think he will. So yeah. The disappointment, I think, will be Yamaha, and I'll get to my mind-blowing prediction next, but later on. But I think it's going to be a big year for them. I think, to be honest, not surprising really. I think they're going to go on this downward slide. To be honest, I would have said Honda or a rider like Johann Zarco, but that's pretty much obvious, really. So that's why I've gone with Yamaha. Just in being the biggest disappointment throughout 2024, to be honest. Moto2 rider, and my pick to be riders Moto2 world champion is Furman Aldegar. Fancy pronounce it. I think, judging off his form at the end of 2024, at the end of 2023, I think for me, I think it's going to be either out of him or Tony Arbolino that's going to win the championship. I think I might go down to the wire, but I think Furman might just hang on, and I believe he will win the Moto2 World Championship. The teams championship, in Moto2, I think they'll go to speed up. I think, as I said, with him and Alonso Lopez being that team, I think that that's the strongest lineup. To be honest, I think there's no weak links there in that team. To be honest, so yeah, I might be wrong, but anyways, and I think Bosco Suro will be the Constructors champions. You know, I was gonna consider Calex, but I think Bosco Suro, I think, will be the Constructors champions for Moto2. The biggest surprise, blowing my Australian trumpet, I think it's Senna August. I think he can very much shock a lot of people here, but with a lot of performances, like getting like maybe several top 10 finishes, a couple of top 5s, the odd front row start, maybe in the most crazy qualifying sessions, a shock pole position maybe on a track that he's used to in the European Championship. So yeah. So as I said, it's going to be tremendously high in my opinion. My hopes of him in the Moto2 World Championship for me, for Senna, I think, for me in that front. The disappointment, I think it'll be Red Bull KTM IO, because I think after 3 years of basically absolutely dominating the Moto2 Championship, just basically holding it hostage. In 2021, it was basically Remy Gardner versus Raul Fernandez, and in 2022, it was Augusto Fernandez, and in 2023, and then last year, obviously, it was Pedro Acosta. I think that's going to end, I believe, that stranglehold, because you know, Chelsea Vietti is good, but he's not great, to be honest. And so too does Dennis Onju. I don't see them, see one of them winning the World Championship or leading the Red Bull KTM team to another championship. I don't see it, and I think they might drop back behind the likes of Speed Up, Mark VDS, Honda Team. Maybe Honda Team Asia, I don't know, but I think there will be in a disappointing season there, to be honest. Moto3 Riders Champion, I have got Danny Holgado to win the Moto3 World Championship. I think it'll be either out of him or David Alonso that will be challenging for the Moto3 title. But you never know. We never know with these things. And I think he'll learn from his collapse. Sort of collapse in the back half of the Moto3 season last year, and I think that he'll start the season like he did last year, but I think he'll learn from it, and basically it'll help him win the Moto3 World Championship. As I said, I think it's either him or Alonso that's gonna most likely gonna win it, and I think it'll be Holgado just in at the end of the day, to be honest. Teams Championship. This one was and Constructors were very hard to choose, because there was no team where I could say, oh, this team is the strongest, that team is the strongest, that team has the strongest lineup. I just couldn't choose. At the end of the day, I just went with Husqvarna Intact GP team. I just went with those because for me those are the strongest out of the weak lots. So So yeah, I just couldn't decide, and yet I had to choose a team, and because of it, I had to choose Husqvarna for the Constructors champion. Really, the biggest surprise, that was also tough to choose, and I just circled back and blew my Australian trumpet yet again, and chose Joel Kelso. Joel Kelso, never know, maybe could win a race. Who knows? I think if the craziest race happens, I think he'll win a race. I don't see him be a regular top 5, top 6 guy. I think just settle for positions maybe about 7 through to 12th in every race. Maybe that, or maybe setting his standards a bit too high for him. Maybe ones from 7th through to 12th to 13th. Maybe not for him in every race. Basically, yeah, but I think he'll surprise a lot of people. I think, and show that podium performance at Phillip Island was no flash in the pan, to be honest. Disappointment, and finally the disappointment for me is my choosing for disappointing. I chose for Moto3. I've chosen a team, and it is Leopard Racing, only because I don't think they're as strong as probably people think. They've lost. They've lost Jelma Masia. Who else is there? They're missing Jelma Masia. Who was another one that was alongside him? Yeah, Tatsuki Suzuki, who's gone to Intact GP to replace his countryman in Ayumi Sasaki. So, and with can Adrian Fernandez really lead that team? Can he really lead them? I don't know, to be honest. I don't think Angel Picciara's. I don't see him, being a race-winning contender or a podium contender, to be honest. So I think that they'll be the ones that I think will be disappointing at the end of the day. There. And finally, my mind-blowing prediction. It could be anything. It'll be anything that could just something that will just blow people's mind. And I think I figured it out. I said about Yamaha earlier. Well, here it is. My mind-blowing prediction is Fabio Quartararo to move to Trackhouse Racing next year. That will be the mind-blowing headline. That will be El Diablo to go to Trackhouse Racing, Aprilia's independent team, in 2025. So you might be asking, who do you think he'll be replaced? I think, maybe Oliveira, maybe Miguel Oliveira, because just for to keep the youngsters in the team, in Raul Fernandez, and then add a world champion in there in Fabio Quartararo. That's the upside. If you add 2 quality riders in Quartararo and then alongside Oliveira, then that would make more sense. I would, because as I've said so many times, I'm going to say it again. I don't think he cares. I don't think anymore. I think at this point, I think Quartararo doesn't care if he moves to another factory team or just moves to a satellite team. I don't think he cares. All he cares about is not being on a freaking underpowered Yamaha. So yeah, that's my That is my call probably for this season, in my opinion. So my mind-blowing prediction would be Quartararo to Trackhouse in 2025. That's the call. So that's pretty much the end of this video, really. So like this video, share this to anybody who's also a fan of Moto2 and Moto3. Yeah. Comment down below what is your bold or mind-blowing prediction. Do you agree with me that Quartararo might leave to go to somewhere like Trackhouse in 2025? Do you predict someone else to go? Do you predict someone else to go? Maybe, I don't know. You have maybe Franco Morbidelli going. Maybe, I don't know, going back to Yamaha. I'd love to hear your thoughts and opinions. And lastly, somewhere down there, click on the big red button which is labeled subscribe. But until next time, guys, I'll see you guys later, and enjoy this great season of Vroom Vroom Bikes.